Very for having us here this morning. We really appreciate that. I'm Jane Ryan, I'm past president. Stacy Portal is our current president, and Jan Amos is our forever wonderful administrative assistant who is the glue to our organization. I'm a recovering, retired college professor. And when we moved full-time here at the lake, I just knew I needed to get involved. I'm a busy person and I like people. So my first group I got involved with was the Idiots Club. Are you feeling big? This year they're having their $1 million a year. And by that I mean in 9 years. This year, the 9th year, they will have given out over $1 million in assistance to the kids in Camden, Miller, and Morgan.
They said last night they did that yesterday.
Yeah, they had the big presentation yesterday. It's a nice speech, so that's just phenomenal. I love that group. And then the second group I got involved in was the Community Foundation of the Lake. Really an incredible organization, and so I want to tell you a little bit about how we operate, what we do, and some of our projects that we've been going on. Is there a way for me to advance the slides?
No, not that I know of, but I
So just wink
I
it.
just want to make sure that I know which one is actually sharing my screen. All right.
Okay, so the Community Foundation of the Lake is one of 54 affiliates underneath the large umbrella of the Community Foundation of the Ozarks. Right? So an affiliate is just a town has created a community foundation. So the Community Foundation of the Ozarks is established in Springfield, Missouri. Their 50th year in existence, and being the parent under which all of us exist, they are managing almost $500 million in funds that sit underneath them. And there's about 700 community foundations across the United States. And the CFO is the 69th largest community foundation in the States. So that says something about Southwest Missouri, I think. Pretty robust organization. So what the Community Foundation of the Lake does really well is we've been established since 2009. And we have some decent amount of money and assets. Those are all the funds underneath us. We have quite a few funds. 21 are called agency partners. And agency partners is just a 501c3 organization that has opened up a fund underneath us. So for instance, they do that because we help them with seminars, giving them ideas on how to be a stronger charitable organization. We promote them on our website. People can also go to our website, hit the donate button, and donate directly to those charitable organizations. And we certainly take care of them during our grant meetings. So that's what we call an agency partner. Okay. And then between the CFL and our grant rounds, and then all those funds that sit underneath us, family funds, for example, we've been able to collectively grant out almost $2 million in time that we've been established. The Community Foundation of the Lake, where we have a governance board of directors, and we do two things really, really well. The first thing we do really well is we have grant rounds. One grant round is because local resident Karen G. Rudick, she created a field of interest fund where the interest available in that fund each year goes towards animal rescues, shelters, clinics, etc. That grant round, about $45,000 each year, will be available in perpetuity to help our poor lake and friends. So that is the power of a type of fund like that. That's one grant round. The second grant round is our annual fundraiser, and with the proceeds from that annual fundraiser, we grant out to our 501 C3 charities here at the lake, focusing on our mission. We grant out to Wonderland Camp, CADV, Kids Harbor, Children's Learning Center, Idiots Club. Those are a few examples of our charitable organizations. For example, this year we were able to grant out over $90,000. So we are really focused on doing that. So that's one thing we do really well. The second thing we do really well is we help businesses and individuals manage their charitable giving. So we have a variety of funds, and we'd be happy to help you or your business find one that's right for your intentions. We have this right here that kind of explains all the different funds. So if you're interested in that, you can pick one of these up afterwards, okay? We have two funds that sit underneath us. So one is a disaster relief fund that we have. In case of a disaster, we have an immediate fund that can help organizations here at the lake. We don't have to wait for Red Cross or somebody to come in. One example of that was when we had a tornado in Elgin. Immediately, we were able to send money to a church that was looking to house displaced families. And so we were able to send money immediately so that they could get set up in hotels and have something to stay. So just an example of how we can operate the disaster fund. Another fund we have, an endowment. I'll come back to that later, but this endowment fund is huge for us. So these are established funds that already exist to help our community. So those are some examples. This is our mission. And we are really trying very hard to help build these community endowments. I'll get back to that in just a few minutes. But we can meet many needs through grant making because in those grant rounds, we know what the needs of our community are. And if we can't help them in the grant round, we can go and research and find outside grants to help them. One example is the Children's Learning Center. We found a grant for them for $30,000. That's 2 years ago. They needed to redo their interior space. And so we can do things like that to help our examples, or some examples. Another example of helping collaboration and community issues is the Magic Dragon Trails. Next slide. So the Magic Dragon Trails, we have Stacy and her husband Jan Pergo, who have spearheaded this entire project. It's huge. You've probably heard about it. But today we're going to give you a little bit of an update. And I'm not going to do it nearly as good a job as Stacy would do if she were speaking. But the first thing that they did was build this wonderful bicycle skills park just adjacent to the YMCA. And this skills park is for little kids to really learn how to bike ride and to trail ride. And it's fun. It's used incessantly by little kids. And big kids. And big kids. Big kids have a time on that trail than the little kids. They just finished a couple of free bicycle camps there. And they completed those 3 camps. They had 39 participants, ages 2 to 18. And at least 21 of them left, pedaling and riding independently. All of them gaining more confidence and gaining new skills. This is probably an odd thing for you and me to think about because we all grew up biking. You know, we had everybody had a bike, we rode our bikes everywhere. This is a new generation of kids that really don't have that opportunity to ride bikes. So it's just starting all over again, getting kids just to riding bikes and having a place for them to safely ride their bikes.
Only 1 in 4 children will ride a bike this year, which is kind of just.
Wow.
Yeah, just US now. Europe and other countries and obviously that's the US.
Yeah, like go to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
So the skills park, and as the skills park is built completely by volunteers and donations from community members. And that's how these trails really are going to be built, through volunteer efforts, in-kind donations from businesses, and just simply donations, and that's reality. But we do have, I think it's our next slide. We do have plans, the Magic Dragon Trails had to, find, progressive trails design, what it's called progressive
Yes,
trails.
a professional trail design firm of Northwest Arkansas.
And so that was the first thing they had to do was pay for this company to come in and do a professional study and design these trails. They're gonna be professional trails. And so this year, this is Nichols Road here. And this is the proposed, about 10 miles of trails, 8 to 10 miles of trails that will be built hopefully later on this fall. So
What are the ones blue and green?
So the blue is more of, kind of family friendly trails. None of these trails though have over a 5% grade increase or decrease. So they're very flowy, very family friendly. I mean, that's one of the hard things down here, you know, so it's got up and down, no shoulders and stuff. But this we've made, so that whether you're walking, rollerblading, some of them are going to be hard surface and some of them or soft surface and some of them are going to have surface. Actually, there's also going to be, it's not on this version yet, but on Three Seasons Road, which is the one kind of right there on the third, that is going to have just that pretty straight flat road. And so along the right of way, there's going to be just a hard surface trail there as well. And we got about a mile of trail, and my hometown, we started out with a mile of trail. And I was fixed out on the west side of town. People had to drive to get there. There were only about 4 parking spots, and I lived right by it. I could not believe how many people would drive, and this was a town that had sidewalks. Most of the town around here don't have sidewalks, but how many would drive to go just walk and run that trail? It's unbelievable. And now they've expanded it from a city park out to a state park.
Do you have to acquire easements for all this?
Yes, it's actually on private property. The Dinky family owns this property. And as soon as we get the final design, construction design, they've agreed to give us an easement. We'll have a construction easement first, which gives us 50 feet on each side of the center line. And then it'll go down to about 3 feet. And it actually has some benefits for landowners if they want to use private easement through there. And there's some tax advantages to it. But it also doesn't, you know, it's not going to do anything. If he wants to develop that, if the family wants to develop it, then go ahead and develop it. Actually, the American Homeowners Association, American Realtors Association has found that increases property value about between 10 and 20%, depending on how close a property is to a trail.
Another thing that Stacy,
Reasonable.
yeah, it's fascinating. And what this can do as an economic driver, and the benefit down the road is huge. And it's going to be a way to bring millennials to the lake. We need young professionals to move to the lake, and we need amenities besides just burning. Not everybody wants to own a boat, but they do want a hike and bike. So this is huge for our community. How do we get from a plan to actual trails? It takes a lot of work, and they've been doing this for a few years now, so it takes time. But we're writing grants. Stacy's writing grants. I help when I can. She's got grants out there like you wouldn't believe. She's got a planning grant in partnership with the city of Osage Beach under the Safer Streets and Roads for All. They've also submitted a grant to Trails Conservancy to initiate a capital campaign that they're trying to get off the ground. They've submitted a grant to Missouri Department of Economic Development, a planning grant to bring AmeriCorps volunteers here to help with the trail building. It's going to be built by volunteers. That's reality.
So, I mean, hopefully for the capital campaign, we will be able to get some construction, especially, I mean, there are certain things like there's a low lying area in here. It's going to have a boardwalk put in and stuff, carpentry skills, that type of thing. So that's kind of where we are on that.
Another grant, Missouri DNR for recreational trails grant, we'll hear about that this fall. So been doing a lot of grant writing and hopefully something will hit, who knows. Another, I guess fundraiser, Stacy's come up with this, she's done this before, is a Halloween park and haunted trail at the YMCA there, the skills park. And so they're looking for civic organizations and businesses to participate in some type of display or event. The skills park itself will be for the little kids. And they're looking for activities like, pumpkin painting, trick or treating, coloring contest, photo booth, cookie decorating, something that little kids can participate in. Then there's trail that leads off from the skills park, and they think that might be the older kids and the adults feeling scarier, like the ghost heading from trees or chainsaw massacre scene or the big old haunted house vignettes or something like that. And then people will pay to come and participate, and that might be a good fundraiser. So if you know of a civic organization or a group or a school group that might want to do something like that, Stacy's got some flyers that are ready to go, and so it'll be kind of a fun thing to do. And, so that will be October 27th. My next slide, I think is what we have going, and I talked about that. But one last thing I want to tell you about, and it's part of the Community Foundation relay, this idea. It's called Neighbors Helping Neighbors, the 5% solution. Now this is just huge. So for generations, people have lived their entire lives close to their birthplace. Camden, Miller, Morgan County, that wealth passed from generation to generation, but stayed local in the community. Okay, but today many of our next generation no longer live in our community. They leave. And once that wealth leaves our community, it may never return. So the largest transfer of wealth in history from one generation to the next is about to take place in the next 10 years. $1.9 billion is expected to transfer between generations in Camden, Miller, and Morgan counties in the next 10 years. That's $22 billion in the next 50 years. So I think we're all kind of aware of that as we're well, but we didn't realize the enormity of it. Okay.
How do you guys?
I went to a seminar.
In the 2 minutes,
Okay, so anyway, he had done an incredible amount of research, but it was very interesting. So the 5% plan says, what if we capture just 5% of that money, just 5%, to keep it from leaving our community when it passes to the next generation? That could generate $96 million for our community in the next 10 years. 96 million in the next 10 years. A total of $1.1 billion over the next 50 years. How do we do that? How do we do that? CFL encourages community members to take care of their heirs, their children and grandchildren, and take care of Uncle Sam too, right? But leave 5%, leave 5% of their estates to the Lake of the Ozarks. And it could be an endowment fund in your church, or the hospital has an endowment fund. Community Foundation has an endowment fund. Doing so establishes a permanent legacy for the giver, or whomever he or she wishes to honor, provides long-term support for the charities close to a person's heart, and helps create a stronger Lake Ozarks for future generations. So by becoming a legacy donor to the CFL's endowment fund, the donor can rest assured that his or her donation will be used in a very special way. The money donated stays with the CFL in the endowment fund, and only the interest accrued each year will be available to give back to our local charities in perpetuity. It's not hard to imagine that if enough people work together on this project, and we easily accumulate $1 million, just $1 million in assets in that endowment fund, that will create about $50,000 annually to address community needs. And that does not even begin to capture the 5% of that $1.9 billion expected to transfer between generations in our three counties. So I became a legacy donor a few years ago. I simply changed the TOD on a Roth IRA. It was that simple. Will the kids miss that money? My answer is no.
What's their answer?
This way, my kids, dad, passed away. I want them to be successful in their own right. Everybody does, right? Okay, so my answer is no. They're going to inherit quite a bit of money, but I can still leave something to my community that I love. Just that simple, a TOD, still Roth IRA, a savings account. Something that you have, just TOD it to a foundation. It could be the community foundation, the hospital foundation, to your church foundation. It's that simple. Keep that money local. Kids are still gonna be wealthy as all get out, right? So I encourage you that the next time you update your will or your trust, that you consider the CFL endowment fund. You can rest assured that the money will stay local, that it will be used to help strengthen our community in perpetuity. So that's really huge. And I'm going to finish with a thought for you. The CFL is here. It's not going anywhere. It's sustainable funding. The money is secure. We have our parent organization, the CFO, that has incredible regulations on how money can be gifted out, granted out. It's not a fly-by-night organization. We're not going anywhere. We're here to stay. We've proven ourselves in this community to be a strong, committed organization to our community. And one last thing I want to say is that I have never lived in an area like the lake with its uniqueness and the way that it constantly gives back to the community. And if you're a business owner, I know you're head up every day 10, 15 times to help donate towards some cause or organization. And it's impressive. But it would be equally impressive, now we have to do that all the time. If our money is in a foundation and that foundation has generated that kind of interest that can easily be gifted and granted right back out. So it's just a thought that I'm trying to let everybody say. We do have several events coming up. One is the benefit over in Stover. It's at Timber Ridge Winery. So we have some information on that up here. If you're interested, come up and grab a flyer. We're going to be there Sunday, September 3rd at Timber Ridge. We have music by me and Jim. We have a food truck, food by Shady's Shack. Just a nice afternoon to go out and do a little bit of a benefit. And we'll have silent auction and raffle items there. Our big event is our fundraiser this year. It will be at Shawnee Bluff Vineyard. And one thing I want to say about our ability to fundraise is that everything that we have going on that night has been an in-kind donation. Neil Griswold has donated that space. And she's doing a wine tasting and we have games, ring toss, where you hit the ring toss over the wine and you get that bottle of wine. Gail is donating all of that. Papos and Mama are also we're in kind, donating them food for that evening. We have Justin Farrell doing our DJ, that's also in kind. So everything that we do is in kind so that the money raised that evening goes directly back to the community and our funding round. So I'm going to put that to you. If you are interested in knowing a little bit about some of the different available funds that are under the CFL, you can pick this up. And then this is just our year in review. So if you're not that familiar with the CFL, you can kind of read what we did last year and get an idea of how we are in our community. Questions? Concerns?
The Rotary similar foundation.
Yes.
We just disperse interest each year to cover the administrative costs of the Rotary. How much administrative costs do you have in Rotary?
We do have administrative costs. We have Jan, who is our administrative assistant. We pay half of her salary, which is about $12,000 a year. And then the CFO, our parent organization, pays the other half of her salary. And that's really all we have. We do have some printing costs involved, but we have, one of our board members, has stepped up to pay for any printing costs we have. And then our event is all in kind. So everything that we do is in kind, and that's really, we try to keep all of our administrative costs as low as possible.
But there is 54, because there are 54 community foundations under CFO, that keeps those and all the money is invested together and it keeps the administrative costs down. It's about 1.1% administrative costs for those investments.
Yeah. So, if you've ever worked in an organization like this and not had an administrative assistant, and you're relying only on your board members to keep everything going, and keep all the spots in the air, it's impossible. You have to have one person who is always anticipating what's the next thing they need to do, what's the next person. That's Jan Amos. She really is the glue to our organization. She knows what we need to do before we even think that that's the case. And that's why we're so successful, because we have an administrative assistant. Without her, as you know, things can really quickly fizzle out. So that's what we really are intent, seriously intent on making sure that all the money is really used as the donors desire. Good question.
I would say I was not familiar with the organization while we were at the Lake West social couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so I picked up some, wow, excuse me. So anyway, I went through that and read up on a little bit. And I know that this group of us is planning on big kind of this state in Congress. But it's not like, you know, the organization has a good mission and has, you know, goals. The biggest thing I would recommend is do what you're doing, just get out and spread the word. Because, you know, like I said, I've been around a few years down here. I just really hadn't heard of the organization.
Well, people say that to us, and my response is, shame on us if people don't know about us. We have got to get out there and tell people what we're doing. People do know about us. That's one of our goals.
Well, and I will say that we have an absolutely amazing working board. The board members that, I mean, she says I'm the blue, but I mean, it's easy to follow great people around that are doing wonderful things. And our board works, they work hard.
I mean, members are on.
14 right now.
Yeah, it's just, you know, wonderful things that go on. I'm curious, did you say like the national level, like 700 in organizations? I mean, that's a lot. I mean, think about it, it's only 50 states, right? So, and you mentioned several, it just seemed like so many, so they just really carved into small districts from the structures.
So
So it's,
I mean, there are some larger cities like Indianapolis, Cleveland have very strong, very robust educations. St. Louis, yes, St. Louis too. So it just depends, but it really helps smaller communities, in my opinion. You know, we have a hand in Miller Morgan counties, but it gives us kind of bigger voice and bigger investment with investing our funds with all these others getting a greater rate of return and having just more.
and so I assume it's all under a 501c3 development, so.
So there's quite a few restrictions on everything we do. We can't go willy-nilly how we do something crazy. We must follow all of those rules under which we operate.
What if we do, if we give a grant, 6 months later, we go back and check, and make sure that grant is being used appropriately, so the audit process is in place as well, which I think a lot of businesses kind of appreciate or don't appreciate it at that level.
And it's all done on a grant hub. It's really a split operation of this grant hub, and on that grant hub says our grants that we grant out. But I'm also, any of us are able to go and look to see what grants are available at the time that we can apply for and bring that money to the lake. And that's an example of the Children's Learning Center. You know, I knew that they had a need. They went on that grant hub and there was like perfect. We did the Stop the Bleed with the hospital a few years ago. we did the prep grant, emergency volunteers, some of them in emergency situations. So those are some of the grants that we've been able to bring to the list.
And the smoke detectors giveaways, that was huge, and we did that in our 3 counties. And it was all funded by
A grant.
yeah, by a grant from our farmers. Yeah. They were like hundreds and hundreds of smoke detectors.
Want to say thank you for the fire service, because my kids have thoroughly enjoyed that. And their cousins came down from Colorado and they
Bike trails all
all over. And so I looked at all of the black and even from Colorado was like. So, and then I even took on the side trail there. I've never done it before, and all of our ages from 4 to 8, we made it successfully on our bikes, all the way down the backups. Thank you for doing that. It's very good. Going through 8.
She's got the vision. And we just have to, keep telling that idea of the bike trails to everybody, because that is going to be huge.
Is basically at this point in time, but now we want these trails to be for everybody. We want multi-use trails. They have a spine that runs from Bella Vista down to Springdale, Rogers. They generate $51 million tourism from biking a year. It's now become the mountain biking mecca of the world. They hosted the International Cyclocross a couple of years ago, and basically the reason for that is because you can ride trails there or here year round. I mean, even if it snows or rains, generally speaking, you can go out and ride the trails the next day. We had bike camp last week, and Tuesday we had canceled because we got 3 to 5 inches of rain, and that trail was fine. The Stills Park was fine right on. So our soil climate is perfect for making this. We actually have a vision to eventually, we got the baby trail. The state is looking to do the Rock Island Trail. There's a diagonal spur that comes down to the lake. Yeah, so we want to connect all trails around the lake, connect into the diagonal spur, connect into Rock Island Cave. So people could ride their bike across the state, all the way down here. That's the vision.
So the slide that you showed up there, sort of local loops, do you have a time frame that you envision that being completed? How many years is that?
I would see in my lifetime it getting connected all around the lake. I'm hoping that in the next 10 years, we will have this original master plan has a little over 70 miles of trail.
How many?
70.
Okay.
And I'm hoping the next 10 years we will have that. It really comes down to funding. It's a mixture of private, public granting and that type of thing. But once you get a mile of trail, it exponentially funding comes in because people realize the impact that it has on the community. I mean, this is going to provide you around tourism. It's kind of like when you have lakefront property, your hot water property, the increased property value, the close to it around that, and it brings a lot of jobs and business.
So David, if you want to make a donation.
Yeah. Like that TOD thing sounds pretty good.
Everyone, your time, thank you.
And
Yeah.
we like to take review. And as for coming to speak with us today, we Rotary is involved in the eradication of polio worldwide. And so for you speaking today, you donated 10 immunizations in your name.
Oh, wonderful, thank you. Wow, thank you. Appreciate that. My high school French teacher had polio
Oh, yes.
as a child, yes. Do you understand that?